Welcome to another episode of Founders Club. Today we are out here in beautiful San Clemente at the Markarian Real Estate office, getting ready to talk to Kevin Markarian, the founder of the company, of his incredible journey of how he went from single agent to team leader to broker owner, and in how just 3 short years he ended up with his company on the Inc. 500. You said you set up your business like the '85 Bears defense.
Full blitz, full out. How we operate our marketing is Chicago Bears 4-6 hardest defense ever. We're blasting emails. We're sending out massive email campaigns to everyone, texting, calling, like it's just nonstop. People that we want to see us, they already know who I am. They know everything about us. So it makes the conversation so much easier.
He's also the king of systems, and he's gonna be sharing all the amazing things that he does to run his business in multiple locations, and how he's turning a 10x ROI on internet leads from Realtor.com and Zillow, and all of the amazing systems and automation that he has set up behind the scenes.
So you can be saying whatever you want, like F this, F that.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Hate the game. So while you're hating the game and while you're sitting on the sidelines, I'm making money.
We're gonna unpack all of it for you guys on this episode. If you have any questions, leave a question down below, leave a comment in the comment box, give us a like, subscribe to the show, and we'll see you on the inside. I just want to, before we kick this off, give a shout out to Michelle. She made a really awesome Bloody Mary bar that we all got to take advantage of. And she even cooked us bacon, which should make you feel extra special because she's a vegetarian and she doesn't cook bacon. So cheers to that.
Yay. Thank you, Michelle.
And you've been on the Inc. 500. You've been named one of the top 100 most influential people in real estate. And I want to kind of take it back because I know that you came from really humble beginnings. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about how you first got started into the business? Because you went from single agent to team leader to broker owner, and I think that's like a really, I think that's a goal for a lot of people in the real estate business. So I want to really kind of unpack how you were able to do that.
Yeah, so my family came from the Middle East. It's like a long story. They were involved with lots of like traumatic experiences, and they ended up coming to the United States. My dad was a big Hollywood fan and movie fan, loved all the movies, and they ended up moving to Hollywood. And they moved to Hollywood. They came as refugees to the United States. They fled from religious persecution, and I was born in Hollywood. And we grew up in, like a 1-bedroom apartment overlooking the Hollywood sign, which is kind of cool. And we'd look out. And I remember, like, we were, what caused us to move up to Northern California, we ended up moving to Modesto, was my mom one day took us to like a McDonald's or something, some restaurant close by. I don't remember where it was, but it was myself and 2 younger brothers, and one of my youngest brother was kidnapped, like almost basically someone like grabbed my brother.
Wow.
And we didn't live like obviously in like the greatest neighborhood, and my mom was freaking out, and it was really a scary time. And she didn't really speak English, and it was crazy. And there was a man that was in line that ended up like getting my brother back. And I remember even to this day, my mom talks about it, and it was like really scary. Yeah, it was insane. And so my mom like ended up talking to my dad, and we ended up moving to Northern California to get away from this really crazy neighborhood and crazy surroundings that we're in. And Hollywood at the time, which you think about Hollywood as being this like glamorous, like fancy place, but at the time it wasn't so glamorous. I mean, it was kind of a rough place. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up moving to Northern California, moved to the small agricultural town, Modesto, California, which is kind of where I was raised and I grew up.
Shout out Modesto.
Modesto 209. So yeah, I mean that's kind of how it all started. Started off really young and moved out there and was a crazy experience.
And then how did that get you into the real estate space?
So like fast forward, like being from 7 or 8 years old or whatever, and didn't really have a whole lot going on as a kid. I mean, it's not a whole lot of opportunity in the Central Valley. Believe it or not, Modesto I'd say is a harder place to come out of than like Compton. Like really.
Because it's remote, it's rural.
Yeah, like if you have talent and you're in Compton, you have Hollywood, you have like LA, you have like entertainment, you have all these things. Where I know for a fact there's like tons of talented people that I knew growing up that didn't make it, that didn't go anywhere because there was the proximity, just the proximity factor was a challenge in itself. So my dad ended up introducing me to a broker. He had a friend who was a broker, and he asked me if I wanted to be a real estate agent. And I'm like, hell yeah. You know, like I'm just like 20 years old and didn't really know
What else am I
happening.
doing?
What else am I doing? So I ended up saying yes to that, and it was you know, the rest was history. And then from that point, I remember the first day I get hired. We go into the office, and I'm like, okay, so what do I do? What do I do? How do I get business?
How do I do this real estate thing?
How do I get customers? How do I get clients? And he's like, all right, come with me. He walks me over to this like cupboard, and it's like this old like dusty cupboard, and he grabs this like big old like yellow book. If you remember what a yellow book like.
The actual phone book?
The actual phone book. He like puts it on a desk, and he's like, start making phone calls.
He's like, here's your leads.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so I just have to make phone calls. And so, but what I did, thinking back, was kind of innovative, actually. So my background, I'm half Armenian and half Assyrian, right? So there was a big Assyrian community in Modesto. So I'm like, okay, how can I like shorten the distance from point A to point B? And so I go through the phone book and I start looking for like Assyrian last names, and like people that I could talk to that would relate to me, that I wouldn't like cuss me out when I call them. So I end up calling and going through the phone book and calling all the like Assyrian last names to try to connect with them, and which resulted in absolutely zero business, but it was a good effort nonetheless.
Built up your tough skin.
Yeah, built up the tough skin, and then from that point, I got hired on with this developer. And I started working with this developer, and at the time it was like 2003, 2004, right before like the boom happened. And I was really lucky to work with this. It was
great
like
timing.
a top 10 builder. Like they were super successful. They had like all these like developments all over the country, and I learned so much because I got to do tons of deals. Like I had so many deals and so much volume that I got the experience early on and got exposed to lots of different situations. And actually, to this day, thinking back, like if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't. I've just learned so much. I wouldn't have had the knowledge, and I don't think I would have had the confidence to take the step into starting my own brokerage if I hadn't gone through all those transactions and all those situations
and
the
challenges,
problems, right? Like so, like knowing the answers, like,
Yeah.
and I knew at the time I had the resources to make the phone calls to answer the questions that I was dealing with at the time, and because of that experience, it allowed me to like feel like, okay, I can do this. I can start my own brokerage and stuff like that. So. Yeah, and then really early on, this super big, like successful developer, and all over, being all over the United States. At like 22 or 23, or maybe 24, I became the #1 agent in the country for them, and that was
For the developer.
For the developer, yeah.
And that's sitting on the neighborhood with all the new homes, and
yeah.
This one's sold, this one's still available, type thing. Okay.
Yeah, and it was cool because like I was like so young, like super young, and I remember after that, they sent me out to go do these trainings. And I was like 23, 24 years old, training these like 50-year-old, like super seasoned agents that just got hired on with this developer. And I was thinking to myself, like, what am I doing training these people? Like, they should be like training me, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
But it was just a cool experience. And yeah, I mean, it was big. It was awesome.
And then the crash hit.
Yeah, so then the crash hit. So I went from being this, very successful, high-flying, young. I had this like 911 convertible Porsche. I was like driving around feeling great.
King of Modesto.
And then market crashes, and so I had to make a decision. It went from when being really successful to things changing fast. So I decided, well, San Francisco is 90 minutes away, not very far. If I'm already failing, like things aren't going very well. If I'm going to fail, let me fail big. Let me go to the big city. Let me fail in a big way. So I took a chance.
Go big or go home.
Yeah, and really, like I literally hit the reset button on my career, and I moved out to San Francisco and I started over again. Didn't know anyone, didn't know anything about San Francisco. Just I knew that it was a good market. It was high price, like high energy, like a lot of life. It was a wonderfully alive place, and it still is to this day. And I love San Francisco, and so I made the move. I went out there, and
not knowing anyone, having no connections.
Yeah, and just relying on my ability, relying on my desire, relying on my historical performance. And like I was saying, like maybe we've talked about it before, is there's two things that are really important. I think two things matter most in anything that we do, and it comes down to desire and it comes down to ability, right? So if you have if you have a desire and your desire outweighs your ability, that's a problem, because
You're out of balance.
You're out of balance. And then the opposite, if you have too much ability and not enough desire, and I can remember people growing up and where I was from and everything, like they had a lot of ability. Like they would have been, like I remember people that were in the Junior Olympics and super successful athletically, but just didn't have the desire, didn't have what it took to make it, right?
Yep.
The will. So it's really about having that balance. And I believed in myself, knowing that I have desire and then I have ability because I've shown it.
Okay, so take me back. So you're the number one salesman at the company. Then are you at that point thinking I want to go bigger than that, or are you comfortable? Like what happens next?
I was comfortable. I felt good. I mean, that was like the most successful I'd ever been. Anyone that I knew had been up until that point, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But then the market crashed, and I was in the Central Valley of California. And that was the epicenter.
That was almost ground zero.
Ground zero, right? It was like the epicenter of the foreclosure crisis in the United States. And so I went from like being this like high-flying young guy doing really well, selling all these houses and really successful to like, wow, like things are changing, they're changing fast. And I remember showing these really dilapidated properties, and it wasn't very exciting. And I remember going home one night and I was talking with my wife. We were talking about other options and started looking at San Francisco, being like an hour and a half away, 90 miles or whatever, and looking at price points there, and it's like really successful market and like really great city, and I'd always admired San Francisco. So I was thinking to myself, well, I'm kind of failing here. It's going in the wrong direction. It's not the direction that I want to go. So if I'm already kind of failing, let me take a chance and let me go to San Francisco. Let me go to the big city and let me fail big if I'm going to fail. Right, so if I'm going to fail, let me fail big.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. So it was like, so we just took a chance. I hit the reset button on my career, and I moved out there because I believed in my ability, and it was like the desire, and I realized at a young age that I had ability.
So the market crashes, the home builder game pretty much comes to a grinding halt. Your business dries up. You're then at that point you're thinking to yourself, I should move to San Francisco and start fresh.
Let me try it. Yeah, because why not? Like it's what do I have to lose? You know.
Okay.
So I think a lot of times, and I remember at that time, it was like 2008. People were saying, "You're crazy. You're going to move to San Francisco. You're an idiot." Like,
I think that would be a lot of people's first reactions, especially with how crazy times were during that time, and going somewhere where you don't know anybody, starting over. Like that gives a lot of people a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, but the way I answered that to people was, I thought about my historical like success or how I've performed historically in everything that I've ever done. And I think this can relate to a lot of people. Show me how you do anything and I'll show you how you do everything. Right? So I've always been at least average or better. And so why can't I be average or better in anything I put my mind to? And that was what
I love that. It's a great perspective.
Yeah. So and people would say like, you know, it's I think per capita, San Francisco has the most amount of real estate agents too, at the time at least.
Most competitive, or one of the most
competitive, like super low inventory. I always block that stuff out, and if I don't block it out, then I look at it as I'm going to overcome this. Like I want that challenge. Like I love it, you know. So I think that's the other thing that comes back down to desire and like mindset, you know, and not having like just get over it, you know, like the weak mindset, like. And
it's a big roll of the dice, but it sounds like you weren't scared of it at all.
Well, I mean, it was definitely, I wouldn't say it wasn't scared because I felt like there's an option potentially, or there's a possibility that things don't work out, but who cares?
So what happens? You go to San Francisco, you move there right away, or?
Oh, so what I did was I started with leads, started buying leads and got a list of contacts that I could reach out to. And I started calling people from San Francisco.
And this is before you moved?
Before I moved.
So you're
it wasn't
setting,
like just
you're trying to set a foundation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I'm just going to like completely go and not know anyone, nothing. Like, no, I still had deals and I was doing deals in the Central Valley and I was still very successful. And the nice part of it is like, it wasn't like I was moving to like New York City, which is across the country.
Yeah.
I can still
go home.
Still drive. I mean, it was work. Like I had to put in a lot of extra work, but I was making calls and I was setting appointments and I was working with people in San Francisco while I was in Modesto and creating opportunities. And I started, you know, setting appointments and actually closed some deals. And what was really funny is I'd always like to work with people from out of town because they didn't know that I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. You know? So
it's a good tip.
But it worked out. It worked out really well, and ended up after a short time, I just ended up moving there. And what we ended up doing was like the majority of my business when I moved to San Francisco was still in the Central Valley, but the plan was to transition. And so it was kind of like,
So it was a slower transition.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a slower transition, but I was focusing on San Francisco while we're maintaining, and I was young, and I didn't have kids or anything, so I could make those moves and drive back and forth if I had to, and so and I remember I'd like for a listing appointment, I'd drive like 2 hours, and I know people always talk about like in our business like focus on one thing and don't. I think that's bullshit, and I think that's if you can afford to do that, yes. But if you're in a position where you can't afford that, then don't. Just go after everything. Raise your hand for every opportunity.
I think that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Getting there is the goal. If you could just dominate one neighborhood near your house, whatever.
Right.
But to your point, going into a new city, you're not going to be able to just set up shop in a farm and start dominating.
You're going to fail if you do it that way
Yeah.
because you don't have the freedom or the liberty, or you don't have you haven't earned it, right? Like
No
you said, that's the goal,
reputation,
right?
right,
So I would just raise my hand to every opportunity and jump after every opportunity, and then it turned out really well.
I'm going to ask you 2 questions, but we can start with one. I'm curious about the leads thing because I know that you've always been a big leads guy. You're purchasing leads. Most people say, "Oh, the leads are weak," right? We hear the leads are weak all the time, but somehow you seem to be having success not only there in multiple different markets. So I want to get to how you set all that up, but first I want to finish off on how you got yourself set up in San Francisco. So you're in there, you're starting to do deals, you're doing part-time, the back and forth thing. Then what happens?
Well, first of all, what I did is really easy. It's not hard. It's really easy. It's just a matter of taking the effort and actually doing it. And I know people are doing it right now. People that are transitioning to different markets. It's not hard. It's just about setting it up. So what I did was I had a brokerage in the Central Valley, and we did a ton of flip properties actually that we sold through the brokerage in the Central Valley. And then I made a deal with the brokerage in San Francisco. I was a broker. I ended up getting my broker's license. And I did a deal with them where any transaction that I did in the Bay Area would go under this San Francisco brokerage. But I wanted to maintain my business in the Central Valley under my own company.
Got it.
Anything that we did outside was under and it was cool. So I just did that's how we started off. And I worked with this company, an independent company in San Francisco for about 4 years or so. Started working, and then I'm going to tell you now how I got into the leads thing and the systems and like the team and all that. I went to a seminar. I went to an event, and it was really funny because at the time we lived in downtown San Francisco, and I never was big on events ever. I just didn't like going to them. I don't know. I just felt like I was just not into them, and then I remember sitting on my coffee. I was sitting on my couch, and at the coffee table was a magazine. And it was a bunch of magazines, your coffee table had a bunch of magazines. Sure. And I'm just kind of flipping through. I remember I was like watching TV or something, and I flipped through, and there was a NAR, a Realtor magazine, and it was about NAR convention being at the Moscone Center, which happened to be like a 15-minute walk from my place.
So it was in your neighborhood.
In my neighborhood, I'm like, I was looking through it. I'm like, okay, I'm still not interested, but at the time I'm buying leads and stuff like that. This is in the early days of online leads. And then I look through and I looked through at one of the sessions and it's like how to manage a high volume of online leads. I'm like, okay. And it's like today at like 2:00 and it's like 9 a.m. right now or something, right? So I'm like, all right, I deal with a lot of leads and it's 15 minutes away. It's a couple hours from now. Let me go check it out. So I end up buying a ticket. I check it out and my mind is blown because at the time I'm buying like 15, 20 leads a month on my own as an individual agent, and I'm watching people on stage that are doing like hundreds of thousands of dollars, like they're going insane, like they're spending tons of money, and the people are up there like, they're like, oh yeah, I don't even work anymore, like I'm at the golf course more than I'm like doing this and that, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture?
What am I doing wrong?
I'm like, I have 15 showings, I have to meet with 4 sellers, so my mind's blown, and I'm just thinking like, okay, they're doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, but at a bigger scale. So all I have to do is just do what I'm doing, but bigger, and just follow these people that are already doing it. And if they can do it, I can do it. And that's the case for anything. If I can do it, then you can do it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I remember I'd get calls all the time. We always get these like calls from like vendors that are trying to sell us stuff or whatever. And Realtor.com was calling me a crazy amount every day, it felt like. And I just hang up on them, right? Like I never want to talk to them. But I remember that day I was so inspired by the people on stage and what they were doing. I literally was like having an anxiety attack because I felt like everyone in the room was going to go and make the call to buy all the leads in the whole city or whatever. So,
and then you're out.
And I'm out. So like I literally leave before the event or before the session's over, and I call the rep, and I end up buying the entire county. I bought all of San Francisco County. And I'm just because I just clicked, you know.
And what did that cost at the time?
It was like $60,000.
Wow.
But it was a big investment, but it was the best thing that I ever did.
Okay.
Because I was already doing those things.
Mm-hmm.
So
you pushed in the chips.
it was
You went
always
all in.
kind of like shoot first, ask questions later with everything that I've always like kind of done. Because the right way to do it would have been to like plan it out, get your team ready, get your things ready, your CRM. I didn't even have a CRM at that time. You know, I didn't have anything. Like I just had myself, and I knew I wanted it. I wanted to get to another level, and this just like opened my eyes. So I think a lot of times we get caught up in like setting things up and planning them out and like talking to people and this, that. Like I don't want to talk to people because they're gonna just get me confused a lot of times. It just depends, you know.
Yeah.
Depends
You don't
on
want too many opinions.
Don't want too many opinions, and just do it sometimes, you know. And that's kind of how I've always done it. Is just kind of do it and then solve it and then figure it out. And so I ended up buying the county. It was a big investment. And all of a sudden, I went from having like 15 to 20 leads to like 400 leads, right? So it's
Like the next
it's a
day.
big problem. Yeah, the next
Yeah,
day.
okay.
So then it's like I'm kind of a procrastinator, unless there's something that's pushing me. Like I'm gonna take my time, right? So now I'm spending this massive amount of money. To me at the time was a lot of money. So I need to figure it out. So the first thing I did was I reached out to a couple of agents that I was working with that knew about how to work leads, and I knew that they were familiar with technology and stuff like that, and I asked them if they'd be willing to help me. I have like way too many, and I can't deal with it. And are you okay? Would you like to help out? And so we can partner up on it. And of course the answer was yes. And so after a short period of time, there was like, I don't know, 15 people that I was working with. And then it became up to a point where people were asking to be a part of it. And I was like, wow, this is interesting, you know? And I couldn't take any more people on because I didn't have enough to feed them, provide them, right? And so that's kind of how we like built the team.
How did you handle that lead flow though? Like just going from nothing to all of a sudden 400 leads, that's a huge transition. What did you do to figure it out?
I just bought a CRM.
Okay.
And I told you it's super easy, you know, like just bought a CRM and started really tracking the inquiries. Before I started buying leads, I just had like chicken scratch that I would be writing. We've all done it.
We all do, yeah,
We're all guilty
of
of it,
Most
right?
people
You meet
probably
someone,
do
you're
that.
like writing it down, you put it in your pocket, you never see it again. I remember I've sold, can't tell you how many houses I've sold because on my desk, it was a very messy desk. And I look at like a Post-it note that from like 3 months ago, somebody's name on it, and I pick it up and I call them, and next thing you know, like they want to transact. So how much business are we losing if we're not condensing and confining and really putting everything
Organizing
in one place?
and, yeah.
So that was like the first thing I did was just get organized. It sounds very simple, but I got a CRM, and then
What were you using back then?
Top Producer.
Okay.
Used Top Producer at the time.
I'm sure you're not using that anymore.
No, we use Follow Up Boss now.
Okay.
Just had to figure out a system. So we'd get, I was the one, like now there's like ISAs and like inside salespeople, but I was the ISA, I was the sales rep. I was taking leads in, I was working the ones that I wanted to work, and I was giving the ones out that I couldn't deal with. That's how I did it. That's how I kind of like,
So
I
you
just
were
learned.
grinding.
It was grinding hard. Like I'd get up, I mean, everything has been because I maxed myself out. And I think a lot of times, you know, I don't know how other people do it, but that's how I've always done it. Is like max yourself out, get to a point where you can't do anymore, and then you can take the next step. And I think with that is like there's a lot of respect that comes with that, in my opinion, when you're working with other people that know that you've done it, that know that you've been there, that you're not just like making stuff up or you're just
Not just telling them
there's
what
no
to do.
theory in
Yeah.
what I do. Everything I do is because of actual experience that I've done, that I've experienced myself. So then I can tell you how to handle a situation because I've been through it many times. So that's all. And part of that is like patience, or you could be crazy and just buy an entire county and spend $60,000 in one day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're making it sound awfully easy, but that's kind of volume is a lot. So you're obviously grinding. You're obviously setting up systems with people and holding them accountable, right? Like, how are you making sure those people were doing what they were supposed to do with those leads that you were spending money on?
So it's really funny because you ever play video games?
Of course.
Yeah. Like, what was some of your favorite video games?
Ooh. Like, if we're going old school, probably Zelda.
I love Zelda.
Zelda, Street Fighter 2,
Street
which
Fighter
we've played a couple times, and I think you have the winning record on that.
We're under a couple drinks at that time now, I'm pretty sure.
Which we won't talk about. Yeah, of course.
So for me, what I always kind of compared it to was I played like Madden.
Okay, love Madden, love FIFA.
So like with these video games, like you have to set up your lineups, you set up your like system, right? You set up your plays, you set up all these like things. And I was always really good at video games, and I was good at like playing Monopoly. That's where like the negotiation comes, right? So I didn't go to college. I didn't learn about business. I didn't go to business school and all that. It was just about experience.
Monopoly and video games.
Yeah.
There you go, kids.
Don't try it at home, kids. So I just kind of compared it to things I'd already done, and just putting the right people, the right team players in the right positions, and to create the best situation, best scenario for them to be successful. So you don't want to put like a wide receiver as a tight end. You don't want to put a running back as an offensive lineman. So you find your people and know your people, know your personnel, and understand who they are and what they're good at and what they're not good at. And that's what I did.
And how when you were handling that volume of leads, how many agents did you have versus like admin staff? Like, how were you set up at that time?
So 0 admin. Everything was right here, and then everything else was just agents, and we'd send out leads. I kind of just did it all at first in the beginning. Not to sound whatever. Probably
no,
that's
bad.
but just again,
earning your stripes.
One step at a time. You know? Yeah. One step at a time. I was like, one of the concerns that I had was like spending money on staff was always like a fear.
Well, you're already spending 60 G's on leads, so there's not going to be much left over for staff.
But with leads, it's like instant gratification. Right. So like, you're going to spend it and boom, you get the return.
And back then, what were you flipping that for? 60K.
So you get like, at the time, man, I was like 10x.
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 Man.
Dude. It was insane. Gross.
So it was a absolute no-brainer.
For a short time, until they started realizing that they're giving away too much. So now we're down to like 4. So, with the lead game, things have changed.
Right.
And I'm probably one of the reasons why, like, I go out and talk about it, how great it is, and everyone should do it, and everyone buys it, and next thing you know, I have to pay more. So your team's insane, you're continuing to grow, right? Yeah, so we're continuing to grow, and then this is like how I started Market Real Estate, why I started it, and it's because I felt like I was bringing a lot, and I think this is the case with a lot of agents.
You're at the crossroads.
You're at the crossroads, and I'm doing a lot of deals, and I'm bringing a lot of business myself, and I think this is something that we always have to ask ourselves. And you're a successful businessman. You've got lots of different businesses that you run. You have obviously a really great business with a big block. It's like the question we have to ask as agents is, what has my brokerage done for me lately? Sorry, but that's the truth, and that's what our clients should be asking about us. What has my agent done for me lately? And so I felt at the time that I was doing a lot more. I was bringing a lot more to the table. I was the one buying the leads. I was spending. I was putting in the effort. And it's all, with all due respect to the company that I was working with at the time, it just didn't really feel like a fair relationship.
And with that kind of money going out, you're taking on a lot of risk, right? And you're the one on the hook for that.
Right. And so I just thought, well, I had this company going in the Central Valley, and why don't I just bring it to San Francisco? I've already got people that want to work with me. I'm doing all these things, and that's what I did. But I just rebranded it, and it changed the name to Market Real Estate. And and then 3 years later, we're on the Inc. 500 list. Pretty crazy. Like,
yeah,
it
that
happened
is
so
crazy.
fast. But it was just more of the same. And then with the systems and like the lead gen, all those things is very easily to replicate and duplicate into a lot of anything. Like, we have lots of different businesses now, and it's all, the foundation is lead generation. If you think about, like, even there's lots of books on this and lots of things you can find on this topic, which is like lead generation is the foundation of any business, any service-related business, right? So if you don't have customers, you don't have any business, and that's a challenge that we face as real estate agents too. Is like individual agents, like, where's my next deal coming from? And so that's the question that I think our company answers. is we answer that question by providing those opportunities. And now, we have like a full staff, we have like a full inside sales team, we have multiple call centers that we work with that we're just, all they're doing all day is setting appointments and creating opportunities for agents on our team to go out and do more business.
Okay.
Which I think is a big challenge and a big problem in our industry. Because if you're not in 100% commission brokerage, you're giving up a lot of money to the company that you're working with, and what are they doing for you?
You need value in exchange.
What's the value?
Right.
Right? Like the brand, okay, cool. Like I have this nice logo, but what's that logo really doing for me? Right? It's like I'm the logo, I'm the brand, I'm the business, right? People come to work with me. And I can tell you how many times out of the thousands of transactions that I've been involved with, like I could probably count less than 5 times probably that a person decided to work with me because of my company.
Right.
They work with me because of me.
Yeah.
Right? So
and on that note, because brokerages are kind of a dime a dozen, right? Like to your point, and how are you able to stand out as an independent broker? You don't have the big brand name. It sounds like your value proposition was, we're going to help you grow your business, we're going to give you leads, and that was kind of what made you stand out.
Absolutely,
correct?
yeah.
Okay, and then so walk me through what that looks like now. You've got the much bigger team. I want to get to the system stuff in a second because I think that's kind of like your superpower. But I want to know, like, through your lead flow system right now, how are you all set up?
So we have agents all over California, multiple offices, multiple locations. We're down here in vacation land, right?
Beautiful San Clemente.
San Clemente. But obviously based in San Francisco, we have agents everywhere, and the way that we operate is like, we don't need to have an office. We have an office, but we don't need it. We don't need it, right? Like you and I were talking earlier. You guys have like 1,000 agents. How many agents show up to your office every day?
Yeah, small
Can you
percentage.
count? Like, yeah, very small percentage. So my thing is, okay, well, we've got the office space. We've got the basics, the foundations there. But what we're doing is the differentiator is we've got the best, most robust platform to create opportunities for agents to do more deals. So that's what our value proposition is like, we're going to create opportunities for you to get out there and sell more houses.
And how are you doing that?
Through investing in online marketing, digital advertising.
But I mean, I want to like unpack it, right? Like, so you're buying leads.
Yeah.
They come into your funnel.
Yeah.
What does the funnel look like?
So leads come in. We have an inside sales team that are responding to people immediately and often. We have multiple call centers.
And are those in-house, out-house?
So we have inside people that work for us that are reporting to us, that are responding to inquiries as they come in. We have thousands of inquiries. We have too many leads, not enough agents to work them. So
great problem to have. So if you need more leads, call this guy.
An inquiry comes in, someone from our team is going to respond immediately. Their objective is to set an appointment. They're going to set an appointment for someone on our team to go either to listing appointment, it's a buyer consultation, or a showing appointment. That's very simply is what we do.
So your agents aren't even calling the leads, they're calling them after they've been screened by the ISAs.
Okay, so if you want to get like granular with it, like it's going to, when a lead comes in, it gets sent out, our inside sales team responds, but if it goes to agents as well, the agents have the ability to respond, and our team is watching. So they're going to give, if it goes to an agent, they're going to give the agent an opportunity to reply. If there's no reply for whatever reason, then we're going to respond, and we're going to set an appointment and either assign it to that agent or somebody else. And then and then it's like, but I don't know if they know. It's long-term follow-up. It's long-term nurturing, non-stop, forever.
Yeah, I think they say the average online lead conversion is about 16 to 18 months.
And the average attempts that it takes to connect with someone who's inquiring online is about 13, according to NAR. And the average attempts that actual agents make is like 1.5 attempts. So there's a big gap between 1.5 attempts to 13 attempts that it takes to create a relationship.
So they're calling twice. Oh, nope, couldn't get a hold of them. It's a bad lead. Put it to the side.
Absolutely.
You're putting them into your system and probably following up forever.
Forever. And that's why we have one of the highest conversion rates in the country. And so
what's your conversion rate?
We're close to like 6%, but
that's fantastic.
But the difference between that 1.5 attempts that people give up, that desire, to 13 attempts, that gap is a massive opportunity. That's a huge opportunity. So that alone, if you're just buying leads on your own, know that if you make 3 phone calls or 4, you're already beating everyone else for the most part, right? So, but we're doing far more than that. And
So new lead comes in, they always say the first 5 minutes is the most critical, right? What happens in the first 5 minutes? Because I'm sure you have all sorts of automated stuff going on.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of geeky, actually. It's like a nerdy thing. But yeah, so like, okay, so first, immediately phone call. And if they don't answer, call back. So there's 2 back-to-back phone calls. And why is because the urgency is increased. If there's a call from the same number back-to-back, right? Something's up, something's going on. We actually try to call them even more, like we'll call it 3 times. And then if no response, we don't leave a voicemail. We will send a text saying, hey, it's Kevin. We just tried calling you. Thank you for your inquiry, blah, blah, blah. Feel free to call me. Then no response, we'll send an email. Still no response, then we'll call back again. And then we leave a voicemail this time. And then at this point, after that is like throughout the day, we're making multiple attempts. And I'm not like this like super like crack the whip. You need to do this many times. But I leave it up to our people to make their own judgment. But they just know that they have to make multiple attempts throughout the day, like in between things, like give this person a phone call. So we're making numerous attempts. Our response rate is really good. Like people actually respond to us, which is great. But yeah.
So all that happens in the first 5 minutes. How are you comping your ISAs? Are they in on the percentage of the deal? Is it a flat thing
it's
per
hourly.
appointment? Hourly?
Yeah, hourly, and then there's a compensation once deals close.
So they get little bonuses, so hourly plus bonuses. And they get to choose what agent they're sending each lead to?
This is like now the operations side. We use like this is like my this is gold right here, right? So we have multiple chats that are going all day. Okay. So all the communication's happening nonstop. And so when, let's say, an inside salesperson connects with someone, they're going to post it in the chat, which is myself, our operations manager, all the other inside salespeople, our lenders are on that chat. And they're going to say, like, hey, I just talked to this person. They want to do this. They want to sell their home on this date. They have a listing. They want to meet with someone to list or talk about listing their home on this time, this day. Who should I send it to? And so then all of us, it's a collaboration, you know? So we'll just say, okay, well, let's send it to this person because they live nearby, or they just sold a house down the street.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So it's always like, it's just.
So who's in on that like management chat? Your lenders,
it's myself,
your ISAs?
Our lenders are in on it, but the decisions are usually made among myself, our operations manager, and then the other inside salespeople. So I want to give them like power, you know. And like,
so they feel like they have some control over who's taking their leads.
And rightfully so, right? Because they're in there every day in the trenches, far more than I am. Like they're in there, they're talking to people all day. They're like the unsung heroes, and I always say it. They're like the background, the backbone. They have the heartbeat of our company. And I always it's like all agents at our company should be like best friends with our inside sales people, right? So, and again, it's just every meeting, every conversation is always about how are we going to make our agents' business grow? What are we doing today to help our business, our agents' business go to the next level? How are we helping them work with more clients? How are we? That's like our objective every day, all day. That's it. So that's our focus. And again, it goes back to like, what has my brokerage done for me lately? Yeah. Well, we're doing things every day, all day, nonstop for our agents.
If your broker's handing you appointments, then that's obviously a very high value in comparison to a broker that just provides a desk and a phone. Right?
It's like that's over, man.
Yeah.
So it's just all about creating opportunities. And but what's nice about it is like now, well, first is we're also teaching agents how to do that. Our own agents, and we've now like started expanding into other markets with team leaders, brokers, and people from all over the country that are now reaching out to us that have found out about us that want to kind of take our model and use it in their own business and partner up. And we started something called Marker Advantage, and it allows us to, it's a platform where people like that are heavy producers or, like I said, team leaders, brokers that want to implement this model into their own business can do that, and we just partner up on that.
So you're outsourcing the system.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Someone say has, I don't know, I have a database with 3,000 names in it. I come to you and you release the hounds and start prospecting them, texting, emailing, following up, and there's a rev share? Or
that even further, because like I said earlier, we've taken this model and implemented it into multiple businesses. we're helping them recruit as well, because this can be implemented into anything, right? So it's the same concept. So just different wording. So we're helping them recruit, we're helping them with marketing, we're helping them with systems, with growing their businesses, and we're partnering with them. So basically, let's just say you came to me, you wanted to do this. You keep everything you already have, your own deals, your own business, your own team, whatever you're already doing, cool, that's yours. But anything we do together mutually, we benefit from mutually. So you get our staff, you get our systems, you get our model, you get everything. And anything we do that we build beyond what you have already have in place is what we work on together, what we benefit. That's where we kind of get involved.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's been good. I mean, we've reached out we're working with lots of great people right now.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
Because a lot of people have the database, but they don't have the tools, they don't have the systems, they don't have the automation, they don't know how to do it, they don't have the web developers and all the stuff that you need to kind of make that happen.
I mean, it's taken like 15 years to build this. You know, and you don't do it overnight. Like it sounds, like I said, it is easy. I mean, I want to say it's easy because I built it. You know what I mean? Like it's all from what's easy to me.
Yeah.
But it's like if I go into your business and what you find easy is probably super hard for me, right? So it's the same thing. But yeah, it's been great. Like we've really helped a lot of people, and that's what it's about. Like initially when we started with leads and all that, it's really about empowering other people. That's what drives me. That's what makes me like really go, is like I love seeing text messages from people who tell me like their biggest check they've ever received. Like, wow, this is like biggest thing for my family, life changing. Right. I've done more deals than ever. Thank you, right? Like those are things that like get me going, and really if you think about like what all of this entails is giving people freedom, giving people options, and helping them achieve their goals. That's like what's exciting to me.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
It's very cool, man. It's a great opportunity, great little niche that you've carved out for yourself in terms of how you're competing against other brokers and your own value proposition. And then not only that, but like almost franchising it to now being able to offer the system to other brokers.
Yeah. Yeah. And like working with this company because of their logo or brand, like to me, go ahead.
That's old school. Yeah.
I mean, you're really missing out. I'm sorry, like really, truly, like.
You gave some great insight as to like your team's value proposition, how you're attracting them, how you're keeping them, how your team's set up with ISAs, setting them appointments and all that stuff. What are you doing now to grow? Because you got on the Inc. 500, which is a huge accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What does your growth strategy look like now?
It's all about growing with the right people. So no end in sight in terms of growth, but just growing with the right people. And 3 things that we always look for in individuals that we want to grow with and want to join our team is someone who's willing to work extremely hard, someone who's collaborative, transparent, willing to share, because we're on chats, we're sharing, we're talking about ideas. You and I, we're always giving each other like our secrets and stuff like that. And then someone who's nice, someone I want to talk to, someone I want to deal with. So it's
what
really
were the 3?
Someone who's willing to work hard, extremely hard.
Hardworking,
transparent and collaborative, and nice.
And
that's it.
Yeah, no a-holes.
No a-holes. So that's really what we look for. And then in terms of growth, it's just the nice part about what we do is like there's no border. Like digitally, we can be anywhere and can be everywhere, and that's our objective, is to be everywhere all the time. We talk about that, and that's now like with sharing our business model with people, other agents that we want to provide this opportunity to. We've been really focusing on digital marketing. We've been focusing on demographic targeting, like on social media, and like being visible and just sharing the opportunity. And that's really what we've been doing, and been very successful in doing that as well. And again, it comes back down to the foundation, which is the system, the model. Right, it can be implemented into any business, So, and so it's just really like ultimately where we can provide the most opportunity. Like if there's a market that looks interesting, like it's just a matter of turning it on.
Yeah.
And everything's in place to convert and to create opportunity.
So let's talk about that, because you just recently came into Orange County and turned it on, right? So. How are you managing that being in NorCal and Southern California? And then how are you making sure that the agents here are getting the same experience that they're getting in San Francisco?
It's very, very easy. Again, it's because the way we have, because of our value proposition and our business model, it's about it's kind of digital anyway. So, I mean, we do have like office meetings, we have events that we do, and like we're having an event on January 31st where we bring people in. We do that kind of thing, but you don't. I mean, we just run it from here, like so. We're creating opportunities. It doesn't matter where you are. As long as you're willing to get out and meet with clients, that's what's important. So we have lots of the little drop-in spaces all over.
And how are you giving agents like the personal one-on-one attention that they need, splitting your time between the two markets?
So I mean, like we do trainings every day. A lot of our communication is done. I mean, like we make phone calls. Even like you said, I mean, you guys have 1,000 agents, and it's like the number of agents that actually come into the office every day physically is a very small percentage.
Right.
So a lot of phone calls, a lot of video conferencing. If we need to have a meeting face to face, it's easy. I'll just get on a flight. It's an hour away. It's not a big deal, right? So it's not a problem. But we do training every single day. And we do it on Zoom, so we do like a lot of video conferencing, daily training, daily education that's being provided.
And what do those daily trainings look like for your team? Is that like a 15-minute power huddle, or is it like full-on in-depth stuff, or is it a mix of both?
It's all. I mean, we're on the go all the time. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I remember like going to office meetings. It was just a nightmare.
Right.
Like I personally did not enjoy
No one likes office meetings.
Well, I mean, it was just not enjoyable, and then a lot of the content like sucked. It was like, and at the time, thinking back to some of the meetings I went to around like 2008 and 2009, they're always like negative, how the market's down, and then like that just I left there feeling deflated. I don't ever want to ever have an agent on my team or anyone feeling deflated. I want always like positive, feeling good, feeling positive, feeling confident, right? Like that's what we need that as salespeople. We need the confidence. We need the support. We need to feel emotionally like strong, So our meetings, and plus, with everyone being on the go these days, like they're very short. Maybe between the daily meetings are on Zoom, so you can be on your way to an appointment or what have you. You could be on your phone. You could be driving, listening in on your Bluetooth or whatever. And it's like between 15 to 25 minutes. And we actually leverage and reach out to our vendors and ask our vendors and our business partners to run the meetings for us. So I'm not involved, right?
And is that same time every day?
It's 9 o'clock every day.
Okay.
And then
and they're optional. Just listen if you can.
Yeah. So everything's optional. So the opportunity is being provided to you. If you want to take advantage of it, there's like no end. You can take advantage of. I mean, we're going to do it all for you.
That's
we have
great.
something called Market Concierge, which I actually picked up from you guys, which is basically do anything for any agent in our company outside of paying their bills.
Right.
Right? So we'll do it all. Right?
Yeah.
So like if you want a table booked at a restaurant, we got it.
Yeah.
Book dog grooming, we'll do dog grooming, whatever. Right? So
yeah, we always say the same thing. Yes is always the right answer, as long as it's legal and ethical.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have that available to our agents. But so the trainings every day. We bring in speakers from all over the country, and again, it's brand agnostic. It's a collaborative, transparent mindset.
Right.
It's an abundant mindset. I'm not afraid. I don't care what company you work with.
Yeah.
I know what you're about. I know you're you're a solid business person. I want to learn from you.
And that's one thing I've always appreciated about you, and I think that we look at it the same way, is that like you're always very open with sharing your ideas. You're very transparent. You're not like trying to like hide what you're doing over here like a lot of people do that are scarcity mindset, and I think that we all win together by sharing. Google calls it cooperation, right? Like even though we're competitors, right, we can still learn from each other, we can still share, we can still build each other up to like make the overall experience better for the whole industry.
And we can benefit from each other. And now you and I are business partners.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because of this mentality.
Right.
So, and we're competitors at the same time. I don't consider it competition.
No, exactly.
I consider it as a learning experience.
Right.
So and then what ends up happening is like I've got this like bubble situation where a lot of the people that I know, the majority of them think like me. They think like with this abundant mindset. So it's unusual when I find people that don't. But that's
and then you don't want to hang out with them.
But that's the majority.
Right.
The majority of people are that way.
Definitely.
But what I find is the most successful people are the most abundant, are the most willing to share, are the most willing to get on a phone call. And that's something else that I did really early on was I'd pick up the phone, like if I go to an event or if I'd watch something on YouTube or whatever, I see a successful person, I'll reach out to them. It's okay. Like I don't care. Like it's like, maybe it's like you feel like they're unapproachable or unattainable, but just call them and you end up be surprised.
Yep.
So that's just a big part of like the mindset is just having an abundant mindset. And you know, if you think about people that hold back and don't want to share and all that, it's like I can find out what you're doing. I'll just Google it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's lots of spy tools out there to find out what people are doing.
So might as well just work with other people that are doing things at a high level, and you'll be surprised what you might find.
I love it.
Yeah.
And couldn't agree more. I think that, you know, to your point, like the more we all share in the real estate industry, we're all in this together, right? There's a lot to learn from each other, and there's plenty of business to go around.
Absolutely. And yeah.
So now I want to ask you something that you said the other day that made me laugh. You said you set up your business like the '85 Bears defense.
Blitz.
And I love that. I love that because it paints a perfect picture. It just sounds cool. So tell me about how you do that and what that means to you.
Well, if you think about the '85 Bears, 1985 Chicago Bears was like one of the best teams ever assembled in NFL history. And one of the things with that team, why they were so great, is they had the best defense. And what they did on their defense is they would blitz, and blitzing is like where you just kind of go all out, like you bring all your people in and go after the quarterback. Yeah. And it's a mentality of like a very like high pressure, high. Help me out. Like it's just like intensity.
Yes, you got to move fast. You got to make a play or you're toast. Immediately.
It's full blitz, full out,
high press,
like full court press. Like that's our business. How we operate our marketing is very much like if you compare it to the Chicago Bears, 4-6 hardest defense ever, is just all out digital marketing. So we're blasting emails. We're sending out massive email campaigns to everyone, and we're going all out with our Facebook and our social media blasts, and we're doing like texting, calling, like it's just nonstop. So it's constant and it's full press, and it's very like in your face. So what ends up happening with that is if somebody that's like, imagine you're a quarterback, and you have this guy this team that's like running at you nonstop. After a while, you're gonna get to know who that person is, right? Like they're destroying you like on every down, right? So it's the same thing with our marketing. By the time the people that we want to see us get to meet us, they already know who I am. They know everything about us. So it makes the conversation so much easier.
Because you're in their face all the time.
In their face all the time. They know my logo. Like you said, we're a boutique brokerage. Like it's funded yours truly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's nothing going on behind the scenes. It's an independent company. We're competing against, the most highly funded companies, some of them in the world, like with someone, you know who they are, like, right? So, but we're winning. Like we're doing well. We're holding our own, and it's because we're visible. You might be able to beat me with stakes in the ground with listings, but you're not going to beat me digitally. And guess what? People are spending more time digital. So I'm going to be more visible. I can compete with anyone. And so by the time you get to, if I want you to see who we are, we can do that very easily. And by the time you come and get in front of me, you're already going to know my story. You're going to know everything about me. You're already convinced.
Right.
And so these are things that we can do as as agents, as teams, or whatever, to our client base. We can become celebrities to a very small group of people, right? It's not difficult. You're just knowing what to do, which buttons to press. And that's another thing that we offer at our company, is like these are things that we would offer to an agent that joins our
plug in. We've got the blitz machine.
Yeah. And so like if you're focusing on a farm, like that's how I leveled the playing field, is digitally. Even when we moved to San Francisco, was like, how do I compete with an agent that's been farming and dominating this market for 20 years? Is we do it digitally, and that's where people are spending most of their time anyway. So that's where I want to be anyway.
I love that. And it makes perfect sense, because the other day you said something about blitz marketing, and I didn't really understand what you meant at the time. But now that we're bringing it full circle with the Bears analogy, now it makes total sense, because you're just blitzing in terms of being in their face, whether they look left, right, forward, you're always there.
And what's great about it is that anyone can do it. Again, it comes back down to like the ease of this. It's so easy. Anyone can do it. Like I'm not the most educated person in the world, but I can do it. It's easy. It's just knowing what to do and pushing the right buttons and make it happen.
So what does that look like to you? What does the Blitz marketing campaign look like?
So like last month we sent out probably 275,000 emails. Someone looking at that might think that's like we're stupidly low. And like, sorry for making this seem like it's a big deal.
That seems ridiculously high to me.
But 275,000 emails, let's say like probably double that in text messages, phone calls, and then like hundreds of thousands of people that we're targeting. And these are people that we want to be in front of them. Like if I want you to see what I'm doing, I can make that happen.
It's pretty easy to find people these days.
Yeah, so it's not hard. And it's...
And where are you spending most of your money right now? Like what's your best lead source in terms of ROI?
Well, we're doing a lot with online lead generation in terms of like clicking and stuff like that. So we spend a ton on Realtor.com. They're a great partner of ours. Mm-hmm. They've been phenomenal. A lot of, again, back down to Facebook. We do a ton of Facebook ads. We've been working actually with Zillow too. And so here's my thing on this, okay? So I know people are like, oh, fuck Zillow, right? So my thing with that is, I'm not here to like change the world, okay?
Right.
I'm just gonna thrive in the world that exists.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna benefit from it.
Yeah.
So you can be saying whatever you want, like F this, F that.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Hate the game. So while you're hating
Yeah.
the game and while you're sitting on the sidelines, I'm making money.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. And so that's my opinion on that. And whatever happens down the road, we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I'm cashing checks.
And so Realtor.com is your best lead source right now.
I like Realtor.com.
That's great.
I like Realtor.com. They're doing some really interesting things right now.
I keep hearing you say social, right? Like, so how are you backing it all up with social? Is social more of a, once you've got the lead, then you target them, or are you cold? Are you going cold on the social channels as well, or what does your social look like?
All of the above. So if you already have a list that you've paid for, you might as well maximize that list. You might as well maximize the dollars that you've spent. So we're targeting people that we've already engaged with, and we're reaching out to cold lists, and that's okay. We're introducing ourselves, saying hello. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing wrong with saying hello. Hello. And
how you doing?
And so that's yeah. I mean, and that's how we've really thrived in markets where, like San Clemente, nobody knows. We're brand new.
Right.
Right. So we're reaching out, and so by the time, again, people come to, like, I meet people and they're like, oh, I saw your video, I saw this, I saw your marketing, I know that logo. Oh wait, I've seen that before. Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, okay, great. So I'm like, yeah, I know. Like we do way more better marketing than the company that you're with. You know, and then we put on events and just
get out there.
And just put yourself out there. But a lot of it can be done just from your bedroom, you know, like.
And what's all the tech that you're using to run all these systems? A follow-up boss is obviously your CRM. Are you using any other tools that are helping you facilitate this lead conversion machine that you've built?
Verse, we've been working with Verse.
Okay, Verse. That was formerly Agentology. Cool. Shout out to David Tall and his brother Avi.
Yep.
Good
Avi,
dudes.
Really good dudes.
Very successful.
Yeah.
Started in the real estate niche and then saw it working and then branched out to other businesses, which is what we love to see.
They're now in the everything niche.
Everything space. So if you've got leads, they can help convert.
Yeah, so we work with them, we work with Call Action. Real Scout's been a great partner.
Real Scout's
been tremendous in our success and helping with our growth and response. So it's just, it's really about creating leverage and where things happen when I'm not there. Mm-hmm. So we're like, messages are going out, responses are happening. So Follow Up Boss, Real Scout, Call Action, Verse, Power ISA has been great. A lot of the virtual assistant companies from the Philippines, like VirtueDesk, has been good. MyOutDesk has been good.
Nice, dropping some gems.
Gems, yeah. So like Agent. What are the other ones? LionDesk is cool. I like LionDesk. So like LionDesk, let's say for example, is a CRM. You don't have to use it as a CRM. We don't. We use it for something else. It's just like playing around, you know, like
we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I think one of your superpowers is setting up systems and getting all of these systems to work within your system, and then also getting all your staff to work within your system. So why don't you tell me a little bit about just how you're building these systems, and then how you're building them so that they can be plug and play so that anybody can follow it.
Well, the way we built the platform is not just like just me. Like, we have people that are involved that give us feedback, that give me feedback. So it's like we'll put an idea out, and then everyone gets like their little.
They get to shoot holes in it.
Shoot holes in it, or give us better ideas. Like Ashley is our operations manager. She's always giving great ideas, and Justin, and we're just playing back and forth. But it's all about just kind of looking at it as an art form. It's weird. Like, I have family a lot of my family members are artists and
I like
musicians.
that. I'm a big art guy, so tell me more about what you mean by that.
Well, if you think about, like, in business, I've always considered it. It's weird to say, but it's like making art.
Yeah.
And there's no limit. You just create whatever you want. There's no one to say you can't do it.
No, I love that analogy, and I actually couldn't agree more, because as you paint something, you build the foundation, right? And then you start filling in the color and filling in the contrast and making it beautiful at the end, which is just like building a business, right? You build the foundation, then you build the pieces around the foundation, and then you color it all in and make it look beautiful.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have like uncles and cousins that are beautiful musicians and beautiful artists, and my uncle, but I suck at all that. But I've taken, I think, that part of my
creative side,
the DNA,
yep.
The creative side, is I've been able to implement it into business, and it's just creating a model that is with no limits, and there's no reason to say no, or just try different things and not be afraid, and that's that's a big part of what we do, and. So.
And then how are you building the systems that to make them duplicatable, so that if Tom leaves, Joe can just take over? No idea who Tom and Joe are. I just can't.
Just try to keep things simple. I remember starting out, and this is really important. Whatever you build, if you leave, somebody should be able to pick up where you left off. That's how you know you built something good. Right? Because the more complicated, the more intricate and all that, the harder it really becomes. Like, if you make it simple so that anyone can pick up where you left off.
Not only simple, we always say you got to make it so simple that Homer Simpson could understand
it. Yeah. And so that's what we try to do.
Yeah.
And in terms of like how we've built it so it's replicatable is I mean, it's kind of hard to answer, but I don't know how to answer that.
How do you approach it to make it duplicatable, though? I mean, is it because you have great software? Is it because you have great people?
Interesting. I mean, all those things, definitely, but I think it has to work for us first. It has to work for us first before it can work for anyone else. So we just do our best to make it work for us, and then once we've kind of got it down, then we just. It's just really just about writing it out.
So you're really battle testing it all first.
Yeah.
Making sure it's the way you like it, then turning it into a system.
Yeah. And I mean, everything that we've done for the most part is easy to replicate, I think. I know. We have replicated it. And that's how we've moved from San Francisco to San Clemente,
multiple
to
markets,
and all these things. Yep. It's just trial and error, and experiencing it, and then packaging it, and just the hardest part for me has been to write it all out, like put it all down, because everything's here, so you put it all out and write it out so that somebody else can understand it. And the way we've done that is I've asked other people to write it out. I've asked other people that we work with that are very involved in what we do to write it out. I don't want to be the one to write it out because then I don't know if somebody else will understand it. So if somebody else...
So someone else... That's actually a really good tip. Someone else writes it out. You verify it, knowing the information.
Right.
And then you can decide if it makes sense or not.
Right.
Make whatever tweaks to massage it.
Yeah.
And then you've got yourself a system.
Got it. Yeah, exactly. So it's just really about recruiting. It's about lead generation. It's about creating opportunities for agents. It's so many things. And I've learned a lot from you as well, and with Sam. Like, you guys have it dialed in as well. And really it's just about taking from lots of different things, and you have your way of doing things,
Right.
and you've probably done, I'm sure you've done it too, is just learning from other people.
Of course.
And playing around
Yeah.
and trying different
It's
things.
back to the art thing, right? Take your different inspirations and then paint your own picture. That's how I look at it anyway. You're doing well. You're successful. You have a great company, a great brokerage. What are you investing in these days?
More businesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that answer. What type of business specifically are
Businesses that are related to my existing business. So like we're working with just started an NHD company. So like a
Cool.
recording company
you? Yep.
that's required on every transaction in California. Mortgage, other real estate brokerages. Like we actually just partnered with you guys up in Sacramento.
Right. So profit centers that you can bolt on to the business that you already have.
Yeah,
is
easy
basically-
stuff. I mean,
yeah.
these are things like you're not reinventing.
You're
So,
not like opening a restaurant.
every trend. No, like
Yeah.
every transaction. If you think about how much commerce takes place around every transaction,
Yep.
like those are pieces of the business that we need to be taking advantage of, and we're
Definitely.
as agents or brokers, we're the rainmakers on those businesses. So we might as well just own them.
Yep.
So those are things that I've been investing in. I'm really just focusing on that, like, and being approached by people from. We're really honored to
Right.
work with these people from all over that are reaching out and asking to partner up or start brokerages. Like we're just partnered with, I was saying, my manager when I was 22 years old. Like she and I just started something in Oklahoma City.
It's great. Yeah.
Which is cool. So we're doing things like that.
I was going to ask you this question, but I think that you already answered it. And it's if you were to go into a new market where you didn't know anyone and you had to start over, what would you do?
What do you think I would do?
But I'm guessing that you would start buying internet leads, plug them into your system, and then start transitioning halfway and do
Exactly.
like a slow transition like
Exactly.
you did to San Francisco.
Yeah. So easy. Anyone can do it in any market. Can level the playing field with the top person in any market. I mean,
Yep.
it takes dollars, but if you can do it, I mean, if you've got the dollars and you've got the little bit of know-how,
Yeah.
I can compete with anyone.
And
in any market.
are you running all that stuff yourself, like your Facebook ads and all your
No,
stuff?
no.
Or do you hire an agency
Yeah.
for that?
No, we kind of are an agency now with like the Market Advantage platform that we're offering to people all over the country. But we have people on staff that are running the ads, that are doing the
So you brought
text
it all
blast.
in-house.
With regards to the tech that we're using, like we're using LionDesk, we're using Facebook, we're using Real Scout, we're using Call Action, Agent Legend.
Yeah, and I just love the way you see it. You see it very simply. You don't overcomplicate things. You automate everything. And I think ultimately that's the name of the game, and that's why you're winning at such a high level.
Automate, leverage, and create opportunities and empower other people to take over
Yeah.
where I was.
Right.
So, and it's hard for me. I feel like
Duplicate
I feel
yourself.
weird.
you're almost duplicating yourself over
Yeah.
and over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
And
But-
that's how you can scale.
Yeah. One of my problems is like whatever. Like I don't want to feel like I'm like above anything or anyone or whatever. But I just think of myself, if I was younger and I looked at someone that was doing well, like I'd want to be in their spot. So like I'm just creating new spots for people,
I love
and
it.
they can like go into those spots and I can do other things.
And then helping people level up.
Helping them level up, helping me level up and
Yeah.
do different things and
great.
freedom. It's creating freedom, creating opportunity.
I love it, man. It's been a great conversation, very insightful. Me and Kevin also run the Real Closers
Oh,
Facebook group with a
yes.
couple of our good friends. It's totally free to join. If you'd like to connect with us, go on facebook.com, Real Closers. If you like the show, subscribe. If you have any questions, leave us a comment down below. Kevin will get back. He's really good about following up with people and making sure there's no unanswered questions. Give us a like, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
For what you guys are doing, like the 100% model, and like, there's obviously a value within your model that's very attractive to people because they don't have to pay a big commission, and that's something that's like, that's huge. Like
Yeah.
it's a big reason why people join your company. Do you think, like, how do you see like brokerages? How do you see brokerages competing against a company like yours? Like, I mean, how do they compete against a 100% model?
I mean, ultimately, like, this is something we talk a lot with one of our mentors, Mike Ferry, and It's ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about the value proposition. Like, if you think that you're gonna, put agents on a 70-30 split, and all you're doing is offering an office and floor time and stuff that really no one cares about, we're gonna eat you alive. But someone like yourself that has, you're taking a split, but you're actually earning that split, I think that's gonna be the name of the game. It's really is adding the value for the amount that you're taking. And not only adding value, but over-delivering on the value in terms of what you're asking for in return.
So how can those companies compete then? If there's a company like yours that's doing 100%, a company like ours that's doing lead gen and creating opportunities, how can like a quote-unquote traditional, what do you see those guys like in the next 5 years?
I see them needing to step up their game in a major way, or they're, it's like Blockbuster, right? Like, the industry's changing. You're either going to change with it, or you're going to go extinct.
I love that, dude.
Straight up.
Blockbuster. I'm going to start using that. I swear. That's such a great analogy.
Yeah, man.
Like,
things are changing.
those companies are the Blockbuster of our industry.
Yeah.
And if you're working at a Blockbuster company, like, really think about that, because what is the value? What is the value proposition? What's the value that's being provided by the broker? And you guys solved it, man. I mean, and you're doing it in a major way. Like, there's not a lot of companies out there that not only will you give agents 100% of their commission, but I know what's important. I know concierge and service and like support is a big part of your business model. So it's like, how does anyone compete with that? That's huge.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what us and probably everybody else is trying to do. They're trying to build a business that can't be competed with, right? Like, the harder you make it for your competitors, I think the better.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna flip the script on you.
Do it. Flip it.
If you could carpool karaoke one song, what would it be?
Carpool karaoke, one song?
Oh, we gotta do this.
Well, since I'm from Northern California and I'm from the Bay Area, I'd say Mac Dre, Feeling Myself.
Mac Dre. Ooh, that's hard.
That's some old school.
That's old school. I like it.
What about you?
Michelle, what would yours be?
My carpool karaoke, probably more like some Earth, Wind, and Fire or something old school like that.
Wow.
That's way old school.
Wow.
That's like might be as old as this car.
It probably is.
1964.
Dude, this car's badass, by the way.
Is it just me, or does he drive this thing like he drives his Maserati?
Yeah, it's dope.
His
I like it.
Maserati.
Yeah, we'll go fast.
Yeah.
His dead Maserati.
The only problem is this car's got like 32 horsepower when the Maserati had like 700 or 500 or something.
It doesn't
crazy.
quite compete.
Yeah, it doesn't quite compete. So what would yours be?
Yeah, what would yours be?
Man, to be honest, it'd probably be like some old school Snoop and Dre.
Oh, gin and juice?
Maybe some gin and juice.
Some, it ain't no fun?
Maybe some ain't no fun. Yeah, all those.
I love it.
Love it.
Hell yeah.
What do you think about iBuyers and how they're going to affect what we've got going on in this age?
Well, I think if you can take advantage of it, and if you're in the small percentage of people like the person you just partnered up with and others who have benefited from it, good for you. That's great. Again, it comes back to don't hate the player, hate the game, right? It's part of the game. It's where it's going. So either adjust and adapt, or you're gonna get left behind. And if you're not a part of it, it's okay, because there's plenty to go around. Not every person's not gonna want to be involved with iBuyer, right? So like, it's just this is another little competitor that you have to deal with. So
that's a good way to look at it, and to be honest, like, they are just another competitor, and an easy way for you to be able to compete with that as an agent would be to partner with any investor in your market that's doing 5 to 10 closings a month, which in any major market there's going to be a lot of those types of people. It's really about just going to them and saying, hey, I want to create an instant offer program. Will you be my investor? And I'm sure they'll say yes, because that's what they're in the business of doing. And now all of a sudden you can compete, and you can go into any listing appointment saying, hey, I can get you an all cash offer on your listings within 24 hours, and now all of a sudden you're on the same playing field, right? Like,
Well, that option has been available forever.
right.
But now, Zillow just gave you an idea that
Yep.
that you can rip off and duplicate. So you can take advantage of it, and it's easy. Like,
I think it used to be an option, and now it's no longer an option. It's something that you need to have as part of your tool
as your
belt.
part of your arsenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's plenty of investors out there that would love to partner up with you as an agent to take advantage of those opportunities. So yeah, I mean it's fine. Like, there's always going to be a disruption. There's always going to be people trying to take market share, but are they going to take all of it? No. And there's too many. I think there's too many doom and gloomers out there. Like, way too many doom and gloomers out there that are thinking the sky's falling. It's not falling. Just stop fucking complaining.
Some days are just more cloudy than others.
Yeah, that's true. And this is where I ended up crashing, dude. Right over here, bro. We should start like a reality show.
Serious.
Do it.
Should we start a reality show?
Yeah.
Would you watch if we watched it?
Yeah.
We did it?
Would you do it? Should we do
We
it?
should do it.
We should.
We'll just drive around this Beetle all day and just be like, "What's up, guys?"